Y'all, tonight at a rally in South Carolina, Donald Trump actually said this.
Good. These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones, you see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece.
The law.
It's pretty amazing.
He only... Who is he? Haley James almost? I see black people?
Did you just hear how he just started talking?
Yeah, I know. When I heard y'all,
yeah, I don't want to hear nothing he got to say, brother.
You know,
he got pronouns.
I just want to.
That's how you gotta say it. That's the only way you can say it, bro. He got pronouns, bro.
Sure.
That's the only respectable way to say it.
No, that was funny. That was funny.
I just want to.
His headline, he got pronouns.
See his African American out there in the lights? What are the lines do I have here? Oh, were they wearing his sneakers? The black people he saw in the lights said, as for that mugshot, come on now. So you think he's Biggie Smalls? Who is America? Please.
Pronouns.
Please share it with your Trump-loving friends. These clips, actually, they might like it. But have them understand
I liked it.
why
I don't think it was that bad.
What we just heard is so unbelievably racist, but also
racist.
Problematic for a democracy. That man should never be president of the United States again.
I'm not finna listen to
we pause?
I'm not finna listen to freaking
pussy.
Harry Flounder, four-eyed nerd.
Yo,
with
his
zesty
hairline
voice.
is doing this.
Yeah. Your hairline look worse than the McDonald's M. You think I'm about to listen to you, brother? All right, let me stop.
It look like somebody biting the top of your...
I'll take it back. Jones.
You look like somebody been nibbling on his headline, man. Nigga nibbling on his shit up to get a cut.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know for sure he not getting no women. Right, come on.
Did you hear his voice?
Pronouns.
Come on, brother.
Such overwhelming results in South Carolina. The victory speech, overwhelming results in South Carolina. We called it right at the top of the hour as soon as the polls closed. Back with the team here in New York. Listen, you've heard a lot of Trump speeches.
Yeah, I mean, R.I.P. the Reagan GOP. There's something so jarring about watching Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, all of who condemned him after January 6th, lining up to do their best campaign rally impersonation and saying this is the most qualified man to be president.
The night of January 6th, Lindsey Graham was saying he was,
I'm done with him.
Enough.
I mean, listen, it is
the
greatest political comeback in history. Just 3 years ago, he was done in the party, and it only took a matter of months before he came back and handily won in Nikki Haley's home state. The question now becomes this. She's held on, we'll see where the margins break down tonight, to about just under a third of Republican votes in some of these primaries. How many of those votes will go to Donald Trump? Because he will need those in a general election. Some of those are never going to be with him, but how many is the open question now?
Probably most of them.
Look, I mean, for me, Tim Scott is obviously auditioning to be vice president. And every time Trump just ritually humiliates him, talks about him having low energy, makes fun of his campaign, and then Tim Scott gets out there and he tries to do something that's really not natural to him, and then he walks off. But, we were talking about before, this is kind of the pathway that Pence got on. And so you might not just be watching the resurrection of a Tim Scott, but you might also be watching the rise of the resurrection of Trump, the rise of Tim Scott.
I cannot think of a Republican that I want to be vice president more than Tim Scott.
Sure.
We love Tim Scott. Yeah. All Republicans of all stripes love Tim Scott. And I agree with what Donald Trump said. I think he's a good man.
Yes.
I think he's a humble man. And I want him to do whatever he has to do to get this job. I really do, because I think
You're in luck.
I
think he is. He does seem willing. You should feel good.
You all are down on what is going on here, but politics has become performative, and he is doing what he has to do. And if he is on this ticket, Republicans are going to love it. They're going to love it. So I'm glad to see him going all around.
Tim Scott is I firmly believe Tim Scott is a good man.
Yes.
I've said that many times before. My line about Tim Scott is that I would give Tim Scott a kidney if he asked me, but I'd never vote for him, right? But the person that Tim Scott has become while auditioning, you call it auditioning, I'd probably call it something else if I was just talking to Audie and Van and we were in a room by ourselves. But what he's doing right now is embarrassing. And I think this is not the Tim Scott that we know. But you also see this happen with many men. Embarrassing. And I think this is not the Tim Scott that we know. But you also see this happen with many men and women who actually find themselves in this Trump orbit. I mean, this is not who Lindsey Graham, we knew Lindsey Graham to be before.
He wouldn't even show his face in Munich this time after years.
I'm sorry, bro. But these people are so good at tricking people, bro.
They're not good
at
tricking
actually.
It just sounds so smooth. It
smell
like butter.
So like it's just like
it sounds like you just cutting straight through some butter.
It's just insane.
He wouldn't even show his face in Munich this time after years and years going with John McCain to the conference that celebrates the NATO alliance. He wouldn't even show up.
And thank you. That bolsters the point that I'm making. And you're seeing a shell of who Tim Scott really is. He's not the rah-rah, this is Trump country, woo-ha, let's go do this. I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, what does he get from this? I mean, there's
maybe the vice presidency.
Maybe, but if he misses, what is he? No,
he's a U.S. senator from South Carolina and one of the most respected Republicans in the country.
But he's losing.
But
he's losing. No, not either way. My point, and I think Van's point, and everybody else's point, is that you're losing respect day by day by going out here and auditioning.
There is a segment of lifelong Republicans who are mortified by what Tim Scott's doing. We are definitely the minority. You're absolutely right, Scott. But there are some of us who are like, we thought you were one of the good ones. We thought you were going to tell the truth. I want to know his answer to also certifying the election.
One of the good
That's
ones.
Fundamental.
Subjugation.
What the hell does that damn
toll
mean?
You have to pay.
That's a good catch. What if Trump would have said that?
He's one of the good ones.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You one of them good niggers.
We thought you were going to tell the truth. I want to know his answer to
sorry,
certifying the election. But there are some of us who are like, we thought you were one of the good ones. We thought you were going to tell the truth. I want to know his answer to certifying the election question. That's fundamental.
Subjugation is the toll you have to pay. When you enter Trump's world, you have to subjugate yourself. The whole party is subjugating itself to Donald Trump.
Yeah, which is why I understand the point about
I got a question.
making it like
Are you supposed to do
embarrassing
that?
The black
You're supposed to do that because, like, after that, like, if there's
it's not
only
gonna be you want to do it on your team.
Yeah, like, because that's what the Democrats are doing. You don't see nobody running against nobody on their side. They standing behind Biden, no matter what.
Everybody knows Biden's tweaking. Even Joy Reid said it out her own mouth. So they're doing the exact same shit.
They've been demonizing Trump probably going on for the be 10 years now.
But they never ever I feel like usually with I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen too many elections, but I feel like Trump gets the most character attack.
But we've seen it.
Well, I'm gonna keep it 100.
We've seen that combination.
I remember
when it was like Trump will never win. They was making fun of him, bro. They've been doing this forever, so now they just like making it he's a Nazi. Brother, you went from saying that he wasn't never gonna be president to saying he's a Nazi.
Well, some people try to say that about Obama too.
But yeah, that's like
you know they was going pretty hard on the
Obama
when he was in that bit.
Both sides go hard.
Everybody was going hard on each other.
We call out what we feel is real.
No, for real.
Some of the shit they say about Obama, I mean, I can't say. I don't know.
When you enter Trump's world, you have to subjugate yourself. The whole party is subjugating itself to Donald Trump.
Yeah, which is why, I understand the point about
makes sense though.
Making it it's embarrassing that there's a black guy doing this. A lot of white guys are doing it too, right? And on Alyssa's point, I agree with that. I know a lot of conservatives and Republicans who wince when they see some of, particularly the New Hampshire victory speech thing where he came on and after Vivek Ramaswamy and really did not cover himself in glory. Where I disagree a little bit with Alyssa and where I think it's sort of significant here that Nikki Haley stays in is I really think the future of American politics is going to be the future of factions. And I miss the days, we were better off when the Democratic Party had really strong and robust competing factions where they had to negotiate with each other. Republican Party desperately needs that. What Nikki Haley staying in the race does, I mean, there are a lot of things it does, but one of the things it does is it solidifies and gives permission structure for a big chunk of the Republican Party to be a non-Trump faction. And since Trump is not going to appoint a single person in his second administration to be a check on him, not one, who could successfully do it. There are going to be no Barrs and Kellys or any of that kind of people. The only way to hold him in check is to have a constituency in the Republican Party that will punish senators and congressmen who don't push back on some of the crazy.
Can I ask a question though? But can she actually do that, or is she the leader or creator of this mold that's a faction? If, for example, tonight, to David's point, she doesn't even do well in the 1st Congressional District, which is the most moderate, which is it's Charleston, it's Berkeley, it's Dorchester, it's where you would think somebody like Nikki Haley can do well. If she gets bludgeoned there, and then disregard the rest of the state, can she be the leader of this?
So my only point, pushing back on what Alyssa said when she said RIP to the Reagan GOP, my point is it's sort of like Miracle Max. It's only mostly dead. And the way you build it back is by building up a faction like this.
Can I get a couple points? I want to ask you a question, but it's the language is so funny because you could say the same words and they can mean something completely different. Nikki Haley says, "I'm not going anywhere." And the Trump folks are saying, "You're not going anywhere." They're saying the same thing, but it's really, really different. My question to you is if she says in the near term, yes, when I raised my hand and said that I would vote for Trump even if he were convicted, can she be the leader of that faction? Do you have to pay that toll in order to be the leader of the faction?
I think it'll be really hard. And I should say, full disclosure, my wife used to work for Nikki Haley. I know Nikki Haley. I have no connection to her now. I think it would be really hard. It'd be really hard to say the things that she's been saying and then endorse them. But at the same time, like in 1976, Reagan ran.
Done,
he didn't win. And he created a faction. That's the history.
To me, Nikki Haley don't even got as much clout as Hillary Clinton.
She doesn't.
Running.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much clout either at all.
Come on now. Like,
Hillary Clinton has some clout.
Haley's a prop. We know this. I ain't gonna lie, this is probably one of the biggest meltdowns I've ever seen. They brought on a big old panel when Trump won.
How many of these people? Like, I was thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got about 8 people up there. I thought we
1976, Reagan ran. He didn't win. And he created a faction. That's the history of the GOP.
Yeah.
The team.
What do you think she says? What does she say tonight?
Their term next time.
What does Nikki Haley come out and say tonight?
I don't know. This sounds like fan fiction to me. I'm sorry. I just two things. One, I don't think there's anyone who is supportive of Trump right now that doesn't want to be there. I don't think that Tim Scott feels he's subjugating himself any more than Elise Stefanik does at CPAC right now. The era where there were people who kind of went along to get along to be in office is over. If you are on stage with Trump right now, I do think you are along because you want to be there.
Yeah.
And Tim Scott has been performing a necessary action for Trump, who is always trying to show, I'm not that racist, right? That's like always the argument. And he represents that just like Vivek Ramaswamy did. The other thing is we're looking at South Carolina like it's the same South Carolina from years ago, even though it's had explosive growth from both red and blue states. Yeah. But Republicans from those states, which means the people who are going there are not the people who knew her before. And if anything, they're probably Trump supporters from other states. It's part of our cultural self-sorting. I don't think the rump state you're talking about of Republicans is just going to rise up this election. It sounds like it's a Carolina. It's over with. And I don't think.
I'm not talking about anything for 2024. I'm talking about the future of the Republican Party.
Well, and Anderson, you asked like what Nikki Haley has to do tonight. I have to say, I'm hearing from my Republican sources who are basically saying, look, she now is potentially going to pay a price for staying in to her own political future, whatever that may be, especially if this is...
But didn't you hear people saying, we still like her, it's just not her time? I didn't hear people saying she's excommunicated.
If she stays in and continues to run against Trump, I think that there is going to be... I'm just picking up this sense that there are going to be more people...
Trump did himself harm in New Hampshire when he stood up and behaved as badly as he did in a moment of triumph, just acting like a jerk. And I think he tried to avoid that tonight. I wouldn't mistake that for the idea that they'll all be cool if she hangs around too long.
So she's now running to be president.
You realize that they never talk about their own party? Like, they always try to demonize a person or another party, but they never talk about...
Trump get them more views than their own people.
The future of the Republican Party. If you're so Democrat, you'll be worrying about the future of your party. What is
some of them are Republicans up there.
Who's the young Democrat that's going to run next?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. At least the Republicans got somebody.
They said Gavin Newsom.
We got a couple people.
But they ain't officially saying that, bro. Yeah, they don't even know who's going to run that right now.
Yeah, I think everyone knows.
Like, why are you worried about the future of the Republican Party and y'all don't know who's running next?
They
Who's
probably
finna
still
debate
wearing
Trump?
masks.
Like, what are they even talking
We
about?
get. I think the Republican Party has a big future. You know, you got DeSantis,
Bunch.
you got Vivek, you got Tim. Yeah. Like, you got some options.
You got some
there.
selections, some good
They got
selections.
nobody.
If
You
it
got
get down-
freaking potentially Wesley Hunt. You know, you got some people who
And
can
if it
step
get
up.
too rough, we got Nikki
Step up
Haley.
to bat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
like
Nikki
a bunch of
Haley's
people.
never gonna win, bro.
I know.
I have no. Come on, man.
We
Y'all
still
know.
forgot about
All right.
Doug.
Who?
Doug.
Oh, Doug.
Oh,
I like Doug. He's
Are
old
we
though.
seeing
He's old though.
Republican
He's an old guy.
debates?
I'm talking about
Where
the
are
young
the
guys.
Democratic debates? Y'all talking about the future of the
Because they
Republican
standing
Party.
behind.
When
they,
is the Democratic caucus and all that?
they standing behind Biden. They're not. Nobody's competing against him.
So they're not even. They just.
I don't know, bro. I guess they just go to.
That's why
Well,
RSK.
Joe, just head on out there and get slaughtered.
I can't wait to watch the debates.
Nah,
I feel
this
like
is
it's gonna be
actually
so
insane.
funny.
That's gonna be
Like
hilarious.
all these,
we gonna
I
be
feel
live
like
for those.
a lot of these news channels just talk. I don't know. I don't really watch the news like that, but from what I've seen, they just demonizing these people. Maybe that's the clips they post, but they never talking about what we could do further to help America.
They don't know.
Like what?
They don't
What
know.
What type of news is this?
They
Why are
don't
you just
know.
demonizing instead of helping?
And they talk
That is
about
crazy
Trump
to
more
me.
than they talk about Trump more than anything
But
else.
maybe that's from what we see. I don't know. Let's just finish this off.
Of I told you so. I mean, the faction you're talking about is predicated on Trump winning the nomination, losing the presidency, and then she gives a speech and says, I told you. That's the faction.
Who the hell gonna beat Trump?
For 6 years. Alyssa, then we gotta go back.
There is a reality where we could have a conviction of Donald Trump come down late summer. And I think Nikki Haley wants to stay in the race to be the person who's been raising money, raising her name ID, talking to both sides of the party, and the person who's pulling the best head-to-head against Donald
insane
Trump.
to think
I-
that the party is going to turn
I acknowledge
to Nikki
that.
Haley
That
now.
is the strategy, the part of the strategy that does not work. The RNC will turn their back on her in a heartbeat because she challenged Donald Trump.
And all these delegates are going to be Trump delegates, too. I mean, this idea that you can go to the convention and say, like, oh, look, I have these delegates in my corner, and I've also managed to anger all of the other delegates in the room. The math just doesn't work.
I think one of the things we're doing for Nikki is we're actually lowering the bar as we go around because she just got pummeled in her home state. And I understand about the explosive growth in South Carolina. That is true, particularly in the Low Country and around the York County area. But the fact remains that the fundamentals of South Carolina are still the same. I mean, when you look at the upstate, I mean, it still is uber Christian conservative evangelicals. I mean, that is South Carolina. Even with all these folk that are coming from Indiana and Ohio, it's the same type of voter. I mean, we don't have a new type of voter that's emerging in South Carolina. And she was a two-term governor. I mean, winning an election in 2014 and getting beat here in 2024, that is not that long ago. I mean, we're not talking about somebody who came in with no record.
Jay, it wasn't long ago that she was saying, I can't wait to get back to my sweet state of South Carolina.
It was the
not so sweet.
But one more point. I mean, she also abandoned Nevada, and she ran a good gubernatorial campaign for the past month during this primary cycle, but she just couldn't do it. So my point is, I don't think the future for Nikki Haley is bright when this happens in South Carolina.
That also means the future for the Republican Party is not bright, and maybe the future for the country is not bright. You have a Republican Party now that has abandoned the border. This is their.
What?
This is what you're voting for.
What? Shut up, bro. Wait. What? This dude is a freaking clown.
That nigga talking on his ass,
Nah,
bro.
take these people serious, bro. I can't, bro.
The Republican Party
take these people
abandoned the
serious.
border. That's the only thing they worry
If
about.
you believe
This dude's a freaking. They having nightmares about the border every night.
I actually see why the subscribers were like, I can't believe you guys watch this still, because like literally you can't believe nothing they say.
This guy's a
That's
freaking joke.
insanity. Okay, let me hear where he's going.
These people are literally bought and paid.
Van
out just to
Jones,
say
after you
shit.
cried
He
on
a
television,
grifter.
he's 100% a grifter.
And we're
He might be
grifters.
number one.
That's the number one grifter.
Him and Joy.
After he shed a tear when Donald Trump won, he should have been
He
number
put in
one.
the movie. He should have won a Grammy for that.
Oh,
for
God.
that, boy, for that acting performance.
Grammy is music. It's Oscar.
Oscar, Grammy, whatever, man.
man, that's
Best
insane.
performance of the year.
Wow.
South Carolina.
That also means the future for the Republican Party is not bright, and maybe the future for the country is not bright. You have a Republican Party now that has abandoned the border.
Pussy.
This is what you're voting for now. When it comes to immigration, you scream fire year one, you spread the fire year two by sending immigrants all over the place. You stop the fire trucks, and then you try to run on immigration, and nobody is challenging that. You also you've abandoned Ukraine.
Look at bro
here you
face.
have
Look
a
at bro
military
face.
state.
Look at bro face.
And you have Ukrainians losing cities, losing ground.
I'm fine with
and
that.
the only Republican in the country saying, for God's sake, do not abandon democracy. For God's sake, do not abandon Ukrainians to Putin's
like this
butchers.
guy.
is Nikki Haley, and she just got destroyed in a military state.
Yeah.
That is not just bad for Nikki Haley's future and whatever. It's bad for the Republican Party and for the United States of America.
And also,
I can't wait to hear what
Jonah's
he got
point
to say.
about the idea that there's going to be this kind of faction that rises up and like can be a check on the party. In the
Somebody
Congress.
gotta get on his ass,
The
bro.
primary election system and the way these districts are is built for the opposite.
Oh, I
It is
agree.
built to like take those people down one by one. I mean, look at Liz Cheney, right? She's like the prime example of that.
Why I want to get rid of the primaries.
Like even if Donald Trump were to lose the election and the whole party have to resort itself, I just don't see how the party recovers from what it's become.
Adi said,
Hold on, one more thing. Did he
How
just
do
say he wanted
y'all
to get
party?
rid of the primary?
Yes.
How does y'all's party recover from this Joe Biden and these we're here, we're queer, we coming from your children
It's all type of
and
shit,
these
bro.
we want these
Pedophile.
men, we want John Jones fighting Johnisha Jones in the UFC and we gonna make it fair like bro.
All type of stuff, bro. With immigrants running over people with tow trucks, all type of shit, bro.
I'm just messed up. He said so.
Like,
No, hold on.
and they say in the future the Republican
He
Party
said,
and
though,
all these
he
people
wasn't-
and then Joe Biden is the only and he's 90
He said he wanted to get rid of the primary, bro. I feel like the primary is great for the United States because it's gonna be we the people who choose who goes and run against who we want. The Democratic Party. What are you talking about, brother?
This is
Huh?
No.
How are we gonna decide that?
I'm still messed up when he said it's the Republicans'
Wouldn't
fault.
that be a threat to democracy?
Yeah.
Taking out the primary?
taking away voting? Yeah.
Like, oh my God, bro.
Hey, I just
we
can't.
actually need a show, bro. We need
Hey,
a show, bro.
I can't-
At
I-
first, I was
We
like,
got a show
we
right
do
now.
got a show, but
I just can't get over this, bro, because like he really blamed the border on Republicans.
Yeah, but they've been doing
and
it.
they're calling Republicans racist because they said they want to shut down this stuff, and because of these illegals and criminals are entering our country, and now it's the Republican
it's the
fault.
Republicans' fault because they won't let 5,000 people come in a week, though. That's why.
you thought people are up there because they want to be up there. I think people are up there because the reality of Republican politics today, they feel demands them being up there if they want to get reelected, if they want to be vice president.
100%.
I mean, power has a having been on both sides of this thing.
I get it, but there's a lot of House lawmakers
Former
who are headed for
Obama
the exits.
advisor.
There's been
I don't
people
wanna
who
hear
have
shit he
been
got to
spiritually
say either.
excommunicated.
Right.
I do think that we witnessed a purge, and a lot of the people who are there are the people who want to be there.
But it is a
Right,
fact.
because they don't want to be purged.
It is a fact that someone like Tim Scott, with his eyes closed, alone at night, would admit that he would rather Nikki Haley be the GOP nominee than
Hell no!
But that's
Your
not the
judgment.
real-
I don't know what he's doing at night.
Hell
I'm just
no.
saying.
You know you too fine to be
elected
talking
Republicans,
right
if they
now
were being
like
honest
that.
with themselves, would want Nikki Haley, but
they
they
have
know
to-
I would
that
never
the power
want Nikki
mechanisms
Haley.
are behind Donald Trump, and
Never.
their power and future hinges on that.
But you act like Donald Trump has the ability to just make these things happen independent of what the voters want. Tim Scott's constituents,
Well, that's
his
no,
party,
that's correct.
his party in South Carolina, everybody
That's
that
correct.
votes for him, and most of the people he encounters on a daily basis are saying, I really think we should do Trump again. So there is some aspect of politics here where these people have to respond to the people that they represent.
So
Yeah,
wait, David, can I ask
Trump
you a
finna break
question
a
about
record
this?
this year.
Because I just am having this. I'm wondering that if Trump himself goes away, the voters that are with him, right? Are they only with him?
Yes.
Are they not with the party? Because there was a little bit of this with Obama, right? There were a lot of people, voters in the country, who were with Obama, but they weren't going to be with any generic Democrat. Is the same thing going on here?
Well,
Yes.
look, I think that Trump is
I believe so.
responding to things that he works the seams that he sees. He sees people anger. He sees people. He doesn't choose these issues because he's deeply contemplative about the problems facing America. He chooses those things that he thinks reflects the base that he can build, and he works at them, and he works at resentment, and he works at anger. Can someone else come along and do it as well as
I'm
he?
angry.
I think that's a questionable, but
I mean, we know
but
that
it is
MAGA voters don't turn out in other races where he's not on the ticket, right?
Right.
You know,
Let's go back to Jake in D.C.
Thank God.
Well,
I'm actually.
I will work on the
I
basis
cannot
of
wait for
something
that
I
shit
don't
to
agree
either.
morally or anything I
Holy
accept
shit.
either.
They,
cannot wait for
we
that,
always say
man.
that, bro. They like, I don't know, man. I'm just sick of
They're
this.
just sick people in the head, in my opinion.
No, that was actually annoying. Just
And
listening
then
to
what
that
they
crap.
said something. What was it?
It says so much, bro.
They said
kinda
one
sweaty.
thing that I was like, I really
He
wanted
had
to
a
say
great
something
shirt on, man.
about.
See it.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. This might be actually the biggest meltdown I've ever seen.
I'm not gonna
in my
lie,
entire life.
Van Jones, you suck, bro.
TDS.
You
That was
suck.
the worst.
Pretty lady, saying that Tim Scott wishes Nikki Haley was the GOP. Stop lying, bae. Rest of you guys, you suck. What was that one guy's name? The one dude on the right, the white dude with the white hair, Scott. And the black dude with the skin fade and the beard, I like them. I like listening to what they had to say. The rest of them wasn't really a huge fan. Him, he was cool. Them two,
yeah, that was cool.
I like them. They was actually speaking on some real talk.
Just having a little debate, you know.
See, they was actually saying some real stuff. I'm okay. They actually, you know.
Black dude do have a little moment. He said something.
Rest of them, eat a dick. I'm sorry.
I actually feel like Vivek
respectfully.
And Tim Scott are up there because they felt like it might be a threat to their democracy. That's why I feel like they said, man, we got to get Trump in.
They agree with the core policies.
And they realized I'm not going to win, so hey, we have to prop up Trump now. That's what it is.
I'm sorry.
I trust Vivek, man.
Simple.
I feel like morally, I cannot mess with the other side. Like,
not at all.
Like, if you're a spiritual person, I just can't like really see you messing with the other side right now.
It depends. I mean, maybe a Christian person. That's a Christian person, but you know, I feel like the liberals might got a little bit more of that spiritual stuff going on.
Different spiritual.
I'm thinking different spiritual.
I'm talking godly.
He's talking Christian.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
I don't understand why the media tries to.
But they say it. They said it's with the same type of voter, white Christians.
Why does the media try to demonize Christianity
They've
so
been
much?
trying to do that, bro.
They do it bad.
Like, is something
You're
wrong
a Christian
with being
nationalist evangelical. You're
Do
bad
y'all
for
want
the
to
country.
get votes from a not Christian person? That's what it seems like. But I mean, guys,
But it messed me up when we saw Joy said that and then say, "I'm Christian, y'all."
And she said like she was just playing, but I guess after she was
I've had enough of Joy,
man.
grifter. Her and Van Jones grifting.
I can't
and selling
wait
your
for
people
Trump to
out
win.
for some TV time and a check.
It's gonna be a lot of fun reacting when Trump win, man. I can't
Oh, you know what's so
can't wait
fun?
for the
Them
debates.
Yeah,
Oh, I can't
it's
wait.
gonna be a cook session.
It's gonna be hilarious.
It's gonna fuel us.
Trump is actually funny. I actually know why I like Trump now because he's funny. Policies,
He's funny. I agree.
A lot
with
of policies make
policies.
sense.
He's more charismatic. He's a
But he's actually
businessman.
funny.
I would trust him in a meeting with Russia over Crooked Joe.
I agree. Good talk.
Him and Vivek together. Oh my goodness.
That's a super squad
Let us know
full
what y'all
of
think, guys.
billionaires.